नमस्ते बिटिया, सदा खुश रहो. Myself JVN Dr. Hemant Vyas, and in today's surgery practical class we are going to discuss about general examination. So whenever a patient comes for examination or with comes his problem, we first have to go for case taking, and after which we go for general examination of the patient, after which we should go for systemic examination and local examination of the patient. So today we will discuss about general examination and particularly pallor examination in the patient. So in general examination there are certain points like pallor, icterus, cyanosis, clubbing and edema. So today we are going to discuss about pallor examination in the patient. So as far as the definition is concerned, pallor is paleness of skin or mucous membrane. Okay, it is paleness of skin or mucous membrane which is caused due to decreased amount of oxyhemoglobin or reduced perfusion of blood in the body. Okay, so I repeat the definition. Pallor is paleness of skin or mucous membrane which is caused due to decreased amount of oxyhemoglobin or because of reduced perfusion of the body. Okay, so let's see what are the sites where we should go for examination of pallor. So pallor examination can be done at 6 parts of our bodies. So there are generally 6 parts where we can elicit pallor inside our body. So let's see one by one what are these parts. So first part of body where we go for eliciting or identifying the pallor is lower palpebral conjunctiva. Okay, so we are just making a list first, and after which I am going to explain you one by one that how we are going to perform the examination. Okay, so first is lower palpebral conjunctiva, then next is tip of tongue, and dorsum of tongue. Okay, so second is tip of tongue and dorsum of tongue. Third part is soft palate. Fourth part of our body is nail beds. Then fifth part is the palm. And sixth part is general skin. Okay, so these are the 6 parts of our bodies where we have to elicit or identify the pallor in our body. So the first is lower palpebral conjunctiva. So I am going to show you that how we should check or what we should look for in the lower palpebral conjunctiva. Okay, so first of all, what is the technique of doing the examination of lower palpebral conjunctiva? Okay, so we should make the patient sit in front of us, and we should pull both the eyelids downwards, lower eyelids downwards. We should pull both the lower eyelids downwards and ask the patient to look upwards simultaneously. Okay, and in this position we have to focus on examination of lower palpebral conjunctiva. So what we have to look in lower palpebral conjunctiva to elicit pallor. So here you can see in lower palpebral conjunctiva there are two parts. Okay, one is the posterior part and one is anterior part of the lower palpebral conjunctiva. So generally in healthy people, these both have different type of colors. Okay, so the anterior conjunctiva, anterior lower palpebral conjunctiva is somewhat more reddish than the posterior one. Okay, but in case of pallor, both these anterior part and posterior part, they look alike. Okay, the difference or the demarcation has been lost. So this is the important finding with the help of which we can elicit that the pallor is present in that person or not present. Okay, here we can draw a diagram also for better understanding. So in this diagram, this is eyeball and this is lower palpebral conjunctiva, and in lower palpebral conjunctiva there are two parts. The upper part is called as posterior and the lower part is called as anterior lower palpebral conjunctiva. So the lower part, anterior part is more reddish and posterior part is somewhat pale. But in case of anemia or in case of pallor, this demarcation has been lost. So both parts look very pale, and there is paleness of mucous membrane which is found in the lower palpebral conjunctiva. Then next is tip of tongue and dorsum of tongue. Okay, so one thing we should keep in our mind is that most of the people do what? They just look the tongue from the above side, but we should go for the dorsum of tongue. Okay, we should look for the dorsum of tongue and tip of tongue. Okay, so this part has to be examined to detect pallor in the patient. Then next is soft palate. So in case of soft palate, we have to look for the color of soft palate. In case of anemic patients or in those patients in which the pallor is present, the soft palate will look pale or slightly very dull colored. Okay, so it is different from the normal and healthy persons. Then next is nail beds. So what we have to see in nail beds to elicit or to identify the pallor. So in case of nail beds, we just have to press the nail bed and we have to leave it, and we have to record the time required for refilling of the blood. Okay, so in case of the patients in which the pallor is present, the refilling time of blood is very large. The refilling time of the blood takes time. Okay, here you can see the blood quickly regains, so the pallor is absent. Okay, and same patient we should look for 2-3 nails. Okay, so that there should not be any scope of error in that case. Then next is palms. Okay, so here is a palm, and what we have to check in our palm to examine the pallor. Okay, so in our palm we can see the creases of palm. Okay, creases of palm, then on these folds there are creases. Okay, and these creases look brownish in color. Okay, these creases look brownish in color. So we just have to say the patient to clench the fist and open it. Okay, we just have to ask the patient to clench the fist and open it. Okay, so in that case, if the color of creases of palm and palm is similar, okay, here we can see the color is different. It is somewhat brownish and the color of palm is pinkish. But in case of the patient in which pallor is present, both these colors, the color of creases as well as the color of palm, becomes similar to each other. Okay, there will be complete paleness and the color of creases will also be gone. Okay, but this occurs when the hemoglobin concentration is very low, means when the hemoglobin concentration goes below 6 or 7 mg per dl. At that time, or gram percent, at that time you will get this kind of sign. Okay, so anemia in palm can be elicited when, or the pallor can be identified in palms when the hemoglobin becomes below 6 or 7 gram percentage. Then these are the part. Then general skin, just we have to look for general skin of the patient. If the skin is pale in color, then we can say that the patient is having anemia. But this sign can be deceiving, as the pallor in the general skin can, because of the color of skin in different person is different. Okay, so we have to compare it with the previous. If we have visited the patient previously, okay, so we can compare that the same person was looking healthy and now in the pallor the paleness has appeared. Okay, so the general skin color is not very reliable sign in case of eliciting the pallor. Just we can go for comparative study of the same patient. Okay, not in different persons. Then we have to look for what is the difference between pallor and anemia. So many of the times these two words are pronunciated for the same terminology. Okay, but there, technically speaking, the pallor is different from anemia. Okay, so how it is different? Pallor is actually a sign of the disease. Okay, and the name of disease is anemia. Okay, but it is not compulsory that in cases of anemia the pallor should be present. Okay, so pallor is one of the sign of anemia, but it may be present or it may not be present in cases of anemia. Next thing is that whenever pallor is present, it does not indicate that there must be anemia. Okay, so there are some conditions in which pallor is present without anemia. Okay, so what are these conditions? Many times this question is asked in vivas. Okay, so many times examiner asks this question, that what are the conditions in which there is pallor present without anemia. So in cases of hypoxia, in cases of hypoglycemia, and in cases of shock, the pallor may be present without anemia. Means oxyhemoglobin is normal, but there is anemia, there is pallor, which is because of reduced microcirculation. Okay, so the pallor is present because of the hypoperfusion or reduced microcirculation of the parts. Then what is the normal concentration of hemoglobin? Okay, what is the normal concentration of hemoglobin? So normal hemoglobin concentration is generally we can say in healthy adult male, it is near about if we are speaking about average, it is about 13 to 15 mg per dl or gram percentage. Then if we talk about females, then in adult female who are not pregnant, then 12 mg per dl is average hemoglobin, which is considered as normal. And in cases of adult female which are pregnant, in those 11 hemoglobin can be considered as normal. Then in cases of children, who have age group of, let's say, half year to 5 years, okay, means 6 months to 5 years, in those hemoglobin concentration of 11 is considered as normal, whereas hemoglobin concentration of 11.5 gram percentage is considered normal in cases of children who are among age group 5 years to 10 years. Okay, but all these statistics we are talking about an average. Okay, an average, but actually speaking, we should look for the range. Okay, the range of hemoglobin. The hemoglobin is never static or in a patient, so we should look for range of the hemoglobin which is normal in the patient. Then other signs which we should consider in cases of general examination is cyanosis, clubbing, edema. Okay, so what icterus we are also going to study about. Okay, so today we are going to end our lecture here. Okay, on pallor. In next lecture we will study about other signs of general examination one by one. Okay, icterus, cyanosis, clubbing and edema are the signs which are remaining. So we will study about these in the next lecture. Okay, then if you have to grasp this topic in depth, okay, so you can also refer some books from the library also. Okay, so in our library there are some books which are available for detailed study of the today's topic, that is pallor. You can go for Hutchison's clinical methods. Okay, then you can study Manipal manual of surgery. Okay, then you can study Bailey and Law, okay, short practice of surgery. So then SRL manual of surgery. Okay, so these are some books which are which have this topic in detail. Okay, so you can go to library and study these topics in detail there. Okay, so that's it from the today's lecture, and in next lecture we will study about the next topic of examination, general examination, that is icterus. Okay, thank you very much.